Never react. Never explain. Just ignore. The Stoic mindset that changes everything. Someone is talking about you right now. Maybe it is a coworker. Maybe it is someone you used to trust. Maybe it is someone who smiled at your face and sharpened a knife behind your back. They are questioning your decisions, doubting your direction, waiting, almost hoping, to watch you stumble. And every instinct in your body wants to respond, to defend yourself, to correct the record, to make them understand, to prove, once and for all, that they are wrong about you. I know that feeling. It lives in your chest like a fire that demands to be fed. But here is what the most powerful people in history understood, what Marcus Aurelius knew, what Epictetus lived, what every truly unshakable human being eventually discovers. The moment you react, you lose. Not because you are wrong. Not because they are right. But because your reaction hands them exactly what they were looking for. Your attention. Your energy. Your peace. Today I am going to teach you the most misunderstood and most powerful skill in the Stoic philosophy. The art of not reacting. The discipline of not explaining. And the quiet, devastating strength of simply ignoring. This is not about being cold. This is not about running away. This is not weakness dressed up as wisdom. This is the highest form of self-mastery that exists. And by the time this video ends, you are going to see every provocation, every critic, every manipulator in your life completely differently. Stay with me. Because what I am about to share will change the way you move through the world forever. Part 1. Why reacting is the trap. Let me tell you about a lion. A lion does not explain itself to sheep. When the lion walks through the grass, the smaller animals scatter, bark, and make noise. And the lion does not stop. Does not turn around. Does not crouch down to their level to justify its existence. It simply moves forward. With total confidence. Total calm. Total indifference to the noise. Now think about the last time someone provoked you. Maybe they criticized you publicly. Maybe they dismissed your ideas. Maybe they spread a story about you that was not true. Maybe they simply ignored you, and that silence stung in a way you did not expect. What did you do? If you are being honest, really honest, you probably reacted. You defended. You explained. You went over the scenario in your head 100 times, rehearsing what you should have said, what you would say if it happened again. And every single moment you spent doing that? That was your energy. Your focus. Your peace, handed directly to someone who did not deserve it. Here is the brutal truth the Stoics understood. When you react to someone trying to provoke you, you are confirming that they have power over you. Not power over your circumstances. Not power over your reputation. Power over your inner world, your thoughts, your emotions, your state of mind. And once you give someone that power, they will use it again and again. Marcus Aurelius wrote something that I want you to sit with for a moment. He said that people who feel compelled to explain themselves, defend themselves, and justify themselves to others are people who have not yet found their footing inside themselves. In other words, the need to react comes from insecurity. From a place inside you that still needs other people's approval to feel solid. And I am not saying that to judge you. I am saying it because recognizing it is the first step to ending it. The person who is truly secure, who knows exactly who they are, what they stand for, and where they are going, does not feel the pull of reaction the same way. Because they are not looking outside themselves for confirmation. They already know. So the first question you need to ask yourself today is this. Why do I feel the need to react? Is it because something important is genuinely at stake, something worth your energy and attention? Or is it because someone pushed a button inside you, and you do not yet know how to sit with that discomfort without doing something about it? That distinction is everything. Because not every provocation deserves a response. In fact, most of them do not. And learning to tell the difference, that is where your power begins. Part 2. The Psychology of Provocation. Let me show you what is actually happening when someone tries to provoke you. Because understanding the mechanics of manipulation will make you almost impossible to manipulate. When someone criticizes you publicly, when they mock you, undermine you, or try to bait you into an argument, they are almost never doing it because they care about the truth. They are doing it because they want a reaction. Why? Because your reaction gives them three things they desperately need. The first thing is significance. When you react to someone, you are telling them, loudly and clearly, that they matter enough to disturb your peace. You are handing them a sense of importance they could not earn any other way. Think about that. The moment you fire back at a critic, you have elevated them. You have made them real. You have taken someone who was irrelevant and placed them at the center of your attention. And attention, especially from someone they want to diminish, is exactly what they were fishing for. The second thing your reaction gives them is control. Provocation is a power move. It is someone reaching into your emotional world and pulling a lever. And when you react, you are confirming that the lever works. You are teaching them exactly how to control you. You are handing them a map of your vulnerabilities, and inviting them to use it whenever they want to feel powerful again. The third thing your reaction gives them is distraction. Yours. While you are busy defending yourself, explaining yourself, stewing in resentment, your focus has been redirected away from your own goals, your own growth, your own life. They are not growing in that time. They are watching you spin. But here is what nobody tells you. The silence of a person who chooses not to react is one of the most psychologically unsettling things a provocateur can experience. Because they came for a fight. They planned for a fight. They rehearsed the fight in their head before they even started it. And when there is no fight? When you simply look at them, absorb what they said, and keep moving, undisturbed, unbothered, completely unmoved? That is disorienting. That is confusing. That is, if I am being direct, terrifying to someone who relies on your reaction to feel powerful. Your calm is their worst outcome. Your silence is your sharpest response. And your continued focus on your own path, in spite of everything they throw at you, is the most devastating thing you can do to someone who wants to see you derailed. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus put it simply. If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. Read that again slowly. Your mind is complicit. Nobody can take your peace without your participation. Nobody can make you angry, anxious, humiliated, or defensive, unless some part of you agrees to it. And that means the work is not changing other people. The work is withdrawing your consent to be disturbed. That is the skill. That is the practice. And it is available to you starting right now. Part 3. Why explaining makes it worse. Now let us talk about explaining. Because this one is more seductive than reacting. It feels more reasonable. More mature. More fair. After all, if someone misunderstands you, should you not clarify? If someone has the wrong impression of you, should you not correct it? Maybe. Sometimes. But let me show you when explanation becomes a trap, and how to know the difference. There is a type of person who will never be satisfied by your explanation. They are not asking questions because they want to understand. They are asking questions because they want to watch you perform for them. They want to see you sweat. They want to feel the power of making you justify yourself. And the more thoroughly you explain, the more evidence, the more context, the more effort you pour into making them understand, the more ammunition you hand them. Because they will take your explanation and twist it. They will use your own words against you. They will find a new angle of attack inside the very answer you offered in good faith. The Stoics had a name for this pattern. They called it giving the wolf your hand. You extend it in peace. And it is taken. Here is the test you need to apply before you ever explain yourself to anyone. Ask yourself, is this person genuinely open to understanding me? Not, do they deserve an explanation? Not, is my explanation accurate? Not, would a reasonable person be persuaded? Is this specific person, in this specific moment, genuinely open? If the honest answer is no, and usually you already know the answer before you even ask, then your explanation will not help you. It will only hurt you. Because here is what people who never explain themselves understand. Your character speaks louder than any defense you could offer. Over time, And it does take time, the truth always surfaces. The people who matter always see it. And the people who never believed you were never going to, regardless of how perfectly you articulated yourself. Your energy is too valuable to be spent on people who have already decided how they feel about you. Spend it instead on building something so undeniable that no explanation is ever necessary. Let your work speak. Let your consistency speak. Let the quiet, steady evidence of a well-lived life speak. Because a lion does not debate the sheep about whether it is a lion. It simply remains a lion, every single day, until the question becomes irrelevant. There is a specific kind of freedom that comes when you stop explaining yourself to people who do not deserve the access. It feels uncomfortable at first. Your nervous system has been trained to seek resolution, to close every open loop, to make sure no one leaves the conversation with the wrong impression of you. But here is the shift that changes everything. You are not responsible for other people's perceptions of you. You are responsible for who you actually are, your intentions, your effort, your integrity. What other people choose to believe about you, especially those who have already decided, that is their business. Not yours. The moment you genuinely absorb that truth, not just intellectually, but in your bones, the urge to explain dissolves. And something much stronger takes its place. Dignity. Part 4. The Art of Strategic Silence. Silence is one of the most misunderstood forces available to a human being. In a culture that rewards the loudest voice, the fastest response, the sharpest comeback, the most viral reaction, silence has been rebranded as weakness. Nothing could be further from the truth. Silence is strategy. Silence is strength. Silence, used with intention, is one of the most commanding things you can do in any situation. Let me give you the Stoic framework for using silence as a tool. The first use of silence is observation. When you are not busy reacting, when you have withdrawn from the noise, you begin to see people with extraordinary clarity. You see who goes quiet when you succeed. You see who speaks up when you struggle. You see who needs your reaction to feel powerful and who is genuinely trying to connect. Most people never develop this clarity because they are always too busy reacting to observe. But the person who is still, who watches without flinching, sees everything. And that information is priceless. The second use of silence is disarmament. When someone expects a reaction and receives silence instead, they are forced to confront themselves. They said the thing. They launched the provocation. They threw the stone. And it landed in still water. No explosion. No validation. No confirmation that they hit their mark. That silence ricochets back to them like a mirror. And often, not always, but often, it is more confronting than any argument you could have made. You do not need to win the argument. The silence wins it for you. The third use of silence is preservation. Every word you speak in defense of yourself costs you something. Energy. Focus. Dignity. Time. Every explanation you offer is an investment, and like any investment, you need to assess the return before you make it. Silence costs you nothing. And it preserves everything. Your energy stays with you. Your focus stays on what you are building. Your dignity remains intact, because you never lowered yourself to the level of the provocation. This is what the most powerful Stoics practiced relentlessly. Cato the Elder, the Roman statesman feared and respected by everyone who crossed his path, was famous for saying almost nothing in situations where lesser men would have argued for hours. He would listen. He would observe. He would make his decision. And then he would act, not react. That distinction between action and reaction is the entire difference between a life of power and a life of helplessness. Reaction is automatic. Unconscious. It happens to you. Action is deliberate. Chosen. It comes from you. And the practice of strategic silence is how you shift from one to the other. Start small. The next time someone says something that bothers you, in a meeting, in a conversation, online, anywhere, do not respond immediately. Breathe. Wait. Give yourself the full gift of that pause. And ask yourself, is my response going to serve me, or serve them? If the honest answer is that it serves you, that speaking up is aligned with your values, your boundaries, and your genuine needs, then speak. Clearly. Calmly. Without heat. But if the honest answer is that you are about to react because you are hurt, or angry, or want to prove something, close your mouth. Keep your eyes steady. And let the silence do its work. You will be astonished at what you discover on the other side of that restraint. Part 5. Building the Unshakable Identity. Everything we have talked about today, the refusal to react, the discipline of not explaining, the power of strategic silence, none of it is sustainable without this final piece. You cannot perform non-reaction. You cannot fake unshakability. You cannot manufacture calm. It has to come from somewhere real. And that somewhere is your identity. Specifically, the clarity of who you are. When you are unclear about your own values, your own purpose, your own worth, every provocation lands because it exploits that uncertainty. The critic hits you because some part of you wonders if they are right. The manipulator controls you because some part of you is not sure what you stand for. The approval seeker emerges because some part of you still needs others to confirm your value. But when you have done the work of knowing yourself, truly, deeply, honestly, something shifts. You still hear the criticism. You still feel the sting sometimes. You are still human. But it does not move you the way it used to. Because you already know the answer to the question they are raising. Marcus Aurelius built this kind of identity through daily reflection. Every morning he sat with his own character, his weaknesses, his intentions, his values, not to judge himself, but to know himself. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That strength, the strength that does not need to prove itself to anyone, is what you are building. And you build it the same way the Stoics did. Through honest daily reflection. Through acting in alignment with your values even when no one is watching. Through choosing your response, in every small moment, over your automatic reaction. Each time you pause instead of react, you are building that identity. Each time you let someone's opinion pass through you without sticking, you are building it. Each time you choose your own peace over the temporary satisfaction of a comeback, you are building it. And slowly, invisibly, you become someone who cannot be easily rattled. Someone who does not need the last word. Someone whose silence says more than most people's speeches. That is the Stoic mindset. That is the identity that makes everything in your life work better, your relationships, your work, your health, your creative output. Everything flows easier from a person who is not constantly bleeding energy into other people's provocations. You came here today for a reason. Maybe you are tired of being baited into arguments that drain you. Maybe you are exhausted from constantly defending yourself to people who are never going to understand anyway. Maybe something deep in you recognized, before you even pressed play, that there is a better way to move through this world. There is. And it starts with this one decision. From this moment forward, you do not react. You do not explain. You do not hand your peace to anyone who has not earned it. You observe. You choose. You move forward. Not because you are cold. Not because you do not care. But because you care too much about your own life, your own growth, your own peace, your own future, to keep spending it on battles that do not serve you. The Stoics were not monks. They were warriors, emperors, and leaders who faced genuine hardship, and chose, every single day, to respond with wisdom instead of impulse. You can make that same choice. Starting today. Now here is what I want from you before you close this video. Leave one word in the comments that describes how you want to show up from this day forward. Just one word. Drop it below right now while it is fresh. And if this video gave you something real, one idea, one shift, one moment of recognition, then do something that costs you nothing but means everything to this channel. Subscribe. Hit that subscribe button right now and join a community of people who are done living in reaction. People who are choosing, deliberately and daily, to master themselves. Every single week on this channel, we go deep into the Stoic philosophy, the psychology of the unshakable mind, and the practical tools for building a life of genuine power and peace. This is not motivation that fades by Tuesday. This is a practice. a lifestyle, a commitment to becoming someone who cannot be easily moved. And if you are watching this and you are not yet subscribed, this is your moment. Press subscribe. Turn on the bell. Share this video with one person in your life who needs to hear it right now. Because somewhere in your circle, someone is exhausted from reacting. Someone is giving away their peace to people who do not deserve it. Someone needs to hear that there is another way. Send it to them. That one act might change everything for them. I will see you in the next video. Stay still. Stay strong. Keep building.